seem to be bothering most people. Maybe it's not about what's been done. Maybe it's about that particular person. Maybe that particular person always annoys you, and always bothers you, and always angers you. And why? Sometimes, and I think this is something that's happening for me, I'm realizing is there an issue of transference or of a displaced hurt? Meaning that it's not really that person, but it's who that person reminds you of. Right? That person reminds you of someone that's really hurt you, that hasn't been resolved. So is there an issue of transference? Is there an issue of displaced hurt? Because no matter how much you try to resolve the situation with that person, because it's actually not about that person, you'll really get nowhere. So you have to think about that. Is this a type of person I struggle to love? Like, I'm a very, very introverted, shy person. I know that people get shocked by that. Like, everyone always thinks I'm very extroverted, and I'm a people-loving person. It exhausts me. It's tiring to be around people. Like, I know that for many of you guys, you struggle mentally and emotionally during COVID and quarantine. I love quarantine. I enjoy being by myself. Right? I just enjoy getting to sit down and listen to music, or watch a little bit of Netflix, or to listen to music, and to read my scriptures, and to have some time of quiet to pray. I enjoy quarantine. I mean, not all the time, like this was too excessive, but there are many, many moments I was like, thank you, God, this is what I needed. Right? And there are people that I struggle to love because, man, there are some people who want to meet with me all the time, and I'm like exhausted and tired. Right? And I have to ask myself, man, is this the type of person I struggle to love? And it's the reality of a revelation that I'm a human being. And none of us are perfect at loving everybody. But we are Christians. We're called to be Christ-like. And we are called to love all people. So it's just a revelation of, man, I still have a long ways to go, and I still have a lot to work on in my ability to love a group of people that God has brought into my life. Maybe they're not perfect fit with me, and how do I deal with that? How do I adjust? How do I mature? How do I grow so that I can healthily love this person as well? So these are the kinds of questions that come out of conflict, right? And when you can actually ask these questions and deal with these kinds of questions, we learn and we grow in conflict, and that is the heart of God. The heart of God is not to have you experience conflict, to hurt you and to wound you. The heart of God is from conflict that we will learn, mature, and grow. So I'm going to end right there. I'm just going to challenge us to really take some time to pray and to reflect and to really think. Maybe some of us are dealing with conflict, whether it's interpersonal conflict or external conflict with other people. But think about the conflicts that are going on in your life. And two things I want us to think about is this. Number one is, unresolved wounds, right? Wounds can turn to scabs. So when you don't treat a wound, it turns to scab. And the thing about a scab is that a scab lacks feeling. You don't feel anything anymore. And emotionally and spiritually, if we're not careful, when we don't deal with wounds and hurts that are happening in our life, we develop emotional and spiritual scabs, meaning that we become apathetic. We don't feel things anymore. And at first, that sounds great because I don't have to feel hurt anymore. I don't feel anger anymore. I don't feel these bad things. And that's true. But you know what else you don't feel? You don't feel the good things. You don't feel love. You don't feel joy. You don't feel happiness. You don't feel peace. So pray. Pray as even the God would speak to the prophets about. Pray that you would be a person whose heart of stone would turn into a heart of flesh. A heart of stone to a heart of flesh. This is actually literally a prayer that God will put into the heart of the prophets to speak to the people about. And maybe it's a prayer that we need to think about as well. Secondly is this. Once again, this conflict can be a really important part of our growth in life when it's healthily dealt with. And especially when we learn how to communicate. And communication isn't just about learning how to express yourself. For some of us, that's what we need to learn how to do. We need to learn how to speak clearly and express ourselves in a healthy manner. But for others of us, that area of communication that we need to grow in is learning how to listen. Right? Learn how to listen. That's me. I need to learn how to listen to people. So pray. Pray that God will anoint your mouth, your ears, and your heart. Those of us who need to learn how our mouths be anointed so that we know how to express ourselves, pray for that. Those of us who need to have our ears be anointed so we know how to listen, let's pray for that. Okay? So let's pray about these two things, and then we're going to sing a song of response as we think about how we can become a new person, a new creation, and that God can use conflict to help bring about that transformation. Let's pray together.